Hello everyone, it's Infinity Gamer here and I'm going to be talking about Siocast. So Siocast has become quite a hot topic at the moment, owing to the inconsistency with the quality of the sculpts that people are receiving. Siocast, if you're unfamiliar, is what most of the new tags, remotes, larger models are all being made from. For Corvus Belli, it seemed to be, and from the initial press release, it was about optimizing the quality of the miniatures. There was generally a very positive spin put on it in that it was a way for the team to be able to get good quality miniatures out, but also to help counter the increased price of white metal, which is what I put in my initial video when I was sent the Nomad remote, which was the first Siocast to be put out there. Many of us received prototypes of Siocast to give a review and to talk about it. The version of the Siocast that I received was excellent. The quality was what I would have expected from a metal miniature, but there were none of the disadvantages of the weight. Any imperfections, like slight mold lines, were easy to clean, owing to the fact that the Siocast was softer and more easily manipulated by things like a X-Acto knife, which I really liked. I've since received subsequent Siocast models, pretty much all of the tags that have come out since. I have built the Gecko, I've built the Stigmaton, I've built almost all of the ones that I've received, including the Chernobog. I haven't yet built my Agamemnon, although that will happen soon, and I haven't built the Shakush. But I had a friend over the other day and I hadn't unboxed either of those last two, so I hadn't looked at them. And so we just did like an unboxing, and I wanted to get his opinion on whether he thought the quality was good or bad, to see if I was just looking at it through rose-tinted goggles or whether they were actually as bad as other people are seeing. We opened them up and they were still okay. There was a little bit of dropped detailing in some of the areas, but generally they weren't as bad as what we had been seeing in some photos that people have been putting online. But the fact that there were any imperfections at all is also a little bit of disconcerting, because metal, we haven't really seen lost detail in vents, in joins, in anything really fussy. And then with Siocast, with almost all the models I've received, that same detail, so the vents and all of that sort of stuff, can be super crisp, or it can be lost completely and actually beyond repair. I've had one or two examples where there's nothing I would be able to do to salvage it and make it look anything like the metal version would be. So I think what this video is about is talking about the real problem with Siocast. And it's not that Siocast is not right for Corvus Belli or not right for this hobby right now. It's that without guaranteeing that the quality is going to be at least the same as metal minis, I don't think we can accept Siocast as an alternative solution, as the best solution to metal right now. I appreciate that the manufacturing cost of metal is going up massively, and when we're talking about big minis that use a lot, then yes, I can see how that's expensive. I can also see how the alternative is that Corvus Belli goes back to doing metal minis, but the cost increases by 50% potentially. As a community, we've then got to look at it and go, would you be willing to pay 50% more for a metal mini that's perfect? Or would you want to be paying the price now for a Siocast mini that's imperfect? And I don't know that that's a choice we want to make or should be making. What I want is for Siocast to be more consistent and perfect. I want it to be how some of my models have arrived, which, some of them have been flawless. But I want that to be every single mini that everyone is receiving, because that's what we expect from a manufacturing process with a quality control process as well. And I find it surprising that, from a QC perspective, I thought I'd have one closer to hand than I do. You know, you get those little blue tickets and the little white tickets in every model that you receive. They are going through a QC process. But is the checking not looking at those sorts of things, or has it been determined that that's acceptable for it to go out? I don't imagine it's the second one, but it also might be. Maybe they've gone, do you know what, just due to the process, due to the molds, we can't redo all of them. It's getting too costly. Almost the same cost as if we were to do this in metal. I don't know what the solution is to this problem, but what I know is that you can't replace metal with a material that might be able to hold its cost better, but at the compromise of quality. Like, that's just not... Someone's paying a good amount of money for a model. They want to receive it and be able to assemble it, prime it, paint it, play it as quickly as possible, not have to reach out and just go, hey look, this one went through the QC process and it probably shouldn't have, can you send me a new one? Like, that's cumbersome and laborious for everyone, including the team at CB. So I think the first way that Corvus Belli could fix this problem is to really, really amp up the QC. Like, make sure that no Siocast goes out with imperfections. And if that means that 80% of the Siocast is held back, then I think that's realistically what has to happen right now. I think the sentiment out there is just so bad on Siocast that we're going to get to the point where it's beyond repair if it carries on this way, with bad molds going out there, with slip details, people receiving it. We need to go through a period where everyone's actually just receiving good versions of Siocast. Otherwise, we're going to end up in a failcast situation with Corvus Belli Siocast. And I think that's bad for the company, and I think it's bad for us if Siocast does fail, because I think the alternative is that we end up with really expensive metal minis that are then cost prohibitive for people to play the game. And I think that's bad. There might be people out there that are willing to pay $100 for a tag that's in metal. I don't know that most players are, and I think that would be bad for the game. So I think in order for Corvus Belli to be the brand that we like, and for the game to be where it's at, we need to have cost competitive models. I think Siocast might be the way to do that. I think there might be an alternative. The thing that confuses me is that Corvus Belli are clearly looking at alternatives to metal. Siocast has been one. They've obviously looked at Unicool. They've done PVC for the Aristea models. The Unicool thing looked good, but I've also seen comments when I've said that it's not going to happen for whatever reason. I haven't seen anything official from CB, but you know, hard plastics, the type that Games Workshop are doing, and obviously the fact that Games Workshop have moved from metal to plastic shows that it is the way. Like, metal, I don't think has a long-term future in hobbying because of the prices and where everything's heading. So we need to find a plastic or something that is durable, it's cost-effective, and I don't know that Siocast is it. It could have been, but I think now that because the quality is so bad, not so bad all the time. That was the thing with Finecast. It was consistently terrible. This isn't consistently terrible, but that's also a problem. Like, it's a bit of a lottery as to whether you're going to get one of the good ones or whether you're going to get one of the bad ones, and that inconsistency is terrible. You know, we go to McDonald's because we know, you know, it's bad, but at least we know what we're going to get every time. We need to know what we're getting with Siocast every time. CB needs to pick up the quality control so that only good stuff goes out internally. Hopefully they'll then see how much is being held back and that the process needs to be fixed. Does that mean that the molds need to be upgraded? Do they need to be changed out more often? Is it because of the molds that these are happening? Is it the process itself? Like, we're still, I imagine, in a learning phase with Siocast to a degree, but that learning needs to improve so that customers are getting better quality models every single time. What do you think about Siocast? A lot of people have very strong opinions of it. Some people, not most people, have experienced Siocast in one way, shape or form, so can hopefully form an opinion on what they've seen, like of actual models, as opposed to what they've maybe just heard about or read about. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Siocast? I'm keen to hear everyone's opinion, to see what's going on. From my own standpoint, I have been a huge supporter of Siocast since I first received the Nomad remote. My opinion of Siocast since then has been based on the evidence of what I've seen myself, but now I'm seeing more images of people that are clearly receiving bad sculpts. That evidence is helping to change my opinion of Siocast. I don't think it's as good as I originally thought it was, but I think that that's not Siocast. I think that's the manufacturing, and I think that's the quality control. I don't think models should be leaving the factory that aren't good enough quality, and I think that's within CB's ability to fix. So my hope is that CB sees the general displeasure with the quality of the Siocast minis that are going out right now, really slaps down on the quality of the models that are leaving the factory and going to customers, and then fixes the manufacturing process so that quality control isn't having to reject quite as many models as we're potentially seeing. Do you agree that that's the best process for CB to go down? If you don't agree, what alternatives do you realistically see? Is there anything else out there that Corvus Belli could be using to try and make this whole situation better, so that we're not having to pay an exorbitant amount for things like tags and remotes, but we're getting better quality, we're getting metal-like levels of quality and consistency when we do receive minis? I'm really interested to hear solutions and ideas as opposed to just complaints. The forum is a very safe place for you to just say how bad everything is and hear a whole bunch of other people agree with you. So maybe choose there to go if that's what you're after. I really just want Siocast to be fixed, and I hope Corvus Belli manages to do that soon. Otherwise, I just don't see Siocast having a very good reception within the community for much longer. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Keen to hear your thoughts. I'll be back soon with another video.